Hey everyone, welcome back. Next up in our 2024 lineup series is Kawasaki. There are a few bikes in the Kawasaki lineup that are still listed as 2023 models, either because they're not going to be updated or maybe they'll be updated sometime later on. Kawasaki has a ton of different model options, so let's jump right in. We start with the KX series, which is their motocross and cross-country models. The KX series is celebrating their 50th year anniversary in 2024, so many models have a 50th anniversary paint scheme available for a price. These are off-road only bikes. We're going to start with the youth motocross. All of the youth bikes are up $250 from 2023. We have the 2024 KX65, which has a 64cc two-stroke engine, 30-inch seat height, has a 6-speed transmission, 1-gallon tank, 12-inch ground clearance, 44-inch wheelbase, weighs 130 pounds and costs $4,250. Next is the KX85, which has an 84cc two-stroke engine, a 32.7-inch seat height, 6-speed transmission, 1.3-gallon tank, 11.4-inch ground clearance, a 49.8-inch wheelbase, weighs 165 pounds and costs $49.50. It also has an ErgoFit system with 6-position adjustable handlebar mount. Moving on to the 24 KX112 with a 112cc two-stroke engine still, 34.3-inch seat height, 1.3-gallon tank, 13-inch ground clearance, 51.6-inch wheelbase, weighs 170 pounds, also has the ErgoFit handlebar mount and costs $5,650. Next up is the full-size motocross. We start with the 24 KX250. Engines now have a 4-stroke single-cylinder. This one is 249cc, 37.8-inch seat height, 5-speed transmission, 1.6-gallon tank, 13.6-inch ground clearance, 58.5-inch wheelbase, weighs 238 pounds, has the ErgoFit system, and costs $8,900, up $400 from last year. 50th anniversary model paint scheme is available for an extra $200. Moving up to the KX450, which has several improvements made from last year, still with a single-cylinder 449cc engine, has all the same specs as the 250 except for the bigger engine, so weighs 10 pounds more at 248 pounds, has ErgoFit stuff on it, has smartphone connectivity. The KX450 is up $900 with all the other improvements that were made up to $10,500. 50th anniversary paint job is available again for $200 more. No changes to the KX450 SR. This is still listed as a 2023 bike. Same specs as the KX450, except it weighs 5 pounds less and costs $12,700. That's it for the motocross. We switch over to the cross-country bikes. No 50th anniversary paint options on the cross-countries. First is the 24 KX250. 249cc engine with 5-speed transmission, 37.2-inch seat height, 1.6-gallon tank, 13-inch ground clearance, 58.3-inch wheelbase, weighs 240 pounds, has ErgoFit, and costs $9,000, up $400 from last year. The other cross-country is the 24 KX450X, again with several improvements this year, same as the KX450, all the same specs as the motocross version, costs $10,700, also up $900 from last year. The KX bikes are all they have for the competition off-road bikes. Now we go to the KLX series, which is the off-road capable bikes that aren't specifically designed for competition. We start with the off-road only bikes. The bottom of the price list is the 24 KLX 110R. This is a youth bike with 112cc engine, 4-speed transmission, 26.8-inch seat height, 8.5-inch ground clearance, 42-inch wheelbase, 1-gallon tank, weighs 167 pounds. Price is $2,900, up $250 from last year. Big brother to the 110R is the 24 110RL. This has a higher ground clearance at 10.5 inches and a higher seat height of 28.7. Cost is $3,100, also up $250 from last year. Next is the 24 KLX 140 bikes with the 140R as the starting point with a 144cc engine, 5-speed transmission, seat height of 30.7 inches, 1.5-gallon tank, 9.3-inch ground clearance, 49.6-inch wheelbase, and weighs 205 pounds. Cost is $3,700, also up $250 from last year. The 140RL has slightly bigger wheels, 3/4 inch higher ground clearance at 10 inches, puts the seat height at 31.5, 5 pounds heavier, costs $4,000, again up $250 from last year. The 140RF, which I apparently forgot in last year's lineup video, is up another 2.5 inches in ground clearance and seat height with an even bigger wheels for $4,300. We move up to the 2024 KLX 230R, which has a 223cc engine and a 6-speed transmission. Ground clearance is 11.8, seat height 36.4, 1.7 gallon tank, 53.5 inch wheelbase, and weighs 260 pounds. Cost us $5,150, up $400 from last year. The 230RS has not yet been updated for 2024. Still the 2023 model, which has 1 inch lower clearance and seat height, and still at the 2023 price of $4,750. Last of the off-roads is the KLX 300R with a 292cc engine and 6-speed transmission, 35-inch seat height, 10.8 inch ground clearance, 56.5 inch wheelbase, 2-gallon tank, and weighs 285 pounds. Cost is $6,300, also up $400 from last year. Next is the dual sport lineup. The dual sports are basically the same as the off-roads, except they're street legal. The KLX 230 and 230S have not been updated for 2024, still the 2023 models. 233cc, 6-speed transmission, 34.8 inch seat height on the 230, 32.7 lower seat height on the 230S, 2-gallon tank, about 295 pounds. Both are $5,000. The 230S has an ABS option for $5,300. Next is the 24 KLX 300, running a 292cc engine with 10.8 inches of ground clearance, a 35-inch seat height, 2-gallon tank, 56.7 inch wheelbase, and weighs 300 pounds. $6,200 for the green and light gray, $6,400 for the dark gray. Prices are up $300 from last year. Next we move to the supermoto bikes. I actually did a little bit of research on the difference between a dual sport and a supermoto because they look almost exactly the same, since I didn't know what the difference was, and found that the dual sport is really designed for off-road but is also street legal, whereas the supermoto is more so designed for street use but can go off-road. The dual sport has knobby tires and a higher ground clearance, whereas the supermoto has smoother tires for the road. The KLX 230 SM has not been updated for 24 yet. 233 6-speed, 33.3 inch seat height, 9 inch ground clearance, 2-gallon tank, 295 pounds, costs $5,300 for non-ABS, $5,600 for ABS. The 2024 KLX 300 SM has the 292 6-speed engine, 2-gallon tank, 9.3 inches of ground clearance, 34-inch seat height, 300 pounds, and costs $6,600. Also up $300 from last year. Oddly enough, I don't see an ABS option on this bike or on the Dual Sport 300. Next model series is the KLR Dual Sport, which only has one bike, the 2024 KLR 650. The 650 is still a single-cylinder engine, surprisingly, with 652cc and a 5-speed transmission. We have a torque rating on this bike of 39 foot-pounds of torque, 8.3 inches of ground clearance, 34-inch seat height, a large 6-gallon tank, and a 60.6-inch wheelbase. Comes in two colors, white or red. Price is $6,900 without ABS or $7,300 with ABS. Coming off of the KLR Dual Sport, which looks more like an adventure bike, we're going to look at the Versys series, which are their adventure touring bikes. The 24 Versys X300 has a 2-cylinder 296cc engine derived from the Ninja 300cc engine, 19 foot-pounds of torque, 6-speed transmission, 32-inch seat height, 4.5 gallon tank, 57-inch wheelbase, 7 inches of ground clearance, and weighs 386 pounds. ABS is standard, and it costs $6,200, up $300 from last year. This bike is more of a regular adventure bike than adventure touring, is my personal thought on that. The 2024 Versys 650 LT also has a parallel twin, 649cc, 6-speed with a 45 foot-pounds of torque, 6.7-inch ground clearance, 33.3-inch seat height, 5.5 gallon tank, 55.7-inch wheelbase, which is actually shorter than the X300. Definitely more of the adventure touring. This includes hard saddlebags and handguards for wind protection, and costs $10,100, which is actually the same price as last year, surprisingly, since all the other bikes so far have had price increases. There are a couple of bikes that they didn't increase the price, but almost all of them have increases. The Versys 1000 has not yet been updated for 2024. 1043cc inline 4-cylinder with 75 foot-pounds of torque and 6-speed transmission, 6 inches of ground clearance, 33-inch seat height, 5.5 gallon tank, 60-inch wheelbase, and weighs 567 pounds. Cost is $18,900 for the 23 model. Also has hard saddlebags and a whole bunch of different features: cruise control, ABS, power modes, traction control, etc. That's it for the adventure touring bikes. We're going to move on to the naked bikes, the Z series, and start with the mini naked bike, the Z125 Pro. 125cc, 4-speed, single-cylinder engine with a 31.7-inch seat height, 6-inch ground clearance, 2-gallon tank, and weighs 225 pounds. Cost is $36.50 for dark gray or green, $38.50 for camo gray, up $250 from last year. We move to the super naked bikes. Introducing a brand new model, we have the ZE1 electric street bike. The bike has 2 ride modes, road and eco, and has an e-boost option. So in road mode, max speed is 53 miles per hour, going up to 63 if you use the e-boost. In eco mode, top speed is 40 miles per hour, going up to 45 with e-boost. It has 2 battery packs that take 3.7 hours each to fully charge. Approximate range is a whopping 41 miles when in road mode without using the e-boost. I'm curious how much that goes down if you use the e-boost regularly. 6.7 inches ground clearance, 31-inch seat height, and weighs 300 pounds. Price on the ZE1 is $7,300. Next is the 23 version of Z400, which has not yet been updated. $5,400. ABS is standard. 399cc 6-speed parallel twin with 28 foot-pounds of torque. 31-inch seat height with 5.7-inch ground clearance, 3.7 gallon tank, and weighs 364 pounds. Price is still $5,400. 2024 Z650 is next, with a 649cc 6-speed giving 48.5 foot-pounds of torque, still a 31-inch seat height, down to 5.1 inches of ground clearance, a 4-gallon tank, and weighs 413 pounds. Wheelbase is 55.5 inches. It comes in 2 colors. The dark gray is 8150 and does not have an ABS option. ABS is standard on the red model, which is 8650. Prices are up $400 from 23. Moving up to the 2024 Z900, we have 2 models. The 900 has a 948cc inline 4 6-speed with 73 foot-pounds of torque. Comes in 2 colors, red or gray, both with ABS standard. $9,900 for gray, $10,200 for red. 31.5-inch seat height, 5.7-inch ground clearance, 4.5 gallon tank, weighing 468 pounds. The 2024 Z900 SE is the other model. Has upgraded gold-colored forks, upgraded shocks, some other features, and costs $11,400. All other specs are the same as the regular Z900. Prices are up $500 from 2023 on both models. That is it for the super naked bikes. Now we go to the hyper naked. We have one bike, the ZH2, but with 2 variations. No change so far on the base ZH2 model, still listed as 2023. Supercharged 998cc inline 4 6-speed with 101 foot-pounds of torque and a whole slew of features on the bike. 32.7-inch seat height, 5.5 inches of ground clearance, 5-gallon tank, 530 pounds, still costs $18,500. The 2024 H2 SE has some upgraded features like auto high beam sensor, electronic control suspension, special graphics for $21,300. This price is up $600 from last year. Last in the Z series is the retro sports bikes. First up is the 2024 Z650 RS with a 649cc parallel twin, 6-speed with 48.5 foot-pounds of torque, a 31.5-inch seat height, 4.9-inch ground clearance, 3.2 gallon tank, and weighs 412 pounds. The engine has been retuned for low to mid-range power and torque. Price is $9,600, up $500 from 23. The 2024 Z900 RS has 2 different models, both with a 948cc inline 4, 4.5 gallon tank, 32.5 to 33 inch seat height, 72 foot-pounds of torque, weighing 472 pounds. All include ABS as standard. Each model only has one color. The Cafe model includes a front cowl, and the SE model has upgraded forks and shocks with gold and yellow coloring. Base model is $12,150, Cafe is $12,900, and the SE is $14,150. Base model is up $200 from last year, the Cafe is up $500 from last year, and the SE model is brand new for 2024 as far as what I can see. That's it for the naked bikes. We switch over to the W Series, just one model here. This is the Retro Classic 2024 W800, a 773cc vertical twin engine with 5-speed transmission and 46.5 foot-pounds of torque. On this puppy, we have the old school chrome fenders and tuck and roll seat, 31-inch seat height with a lower 4.9-inch ground clearance, 4-gallon tank, which looks a lot like the tank of a Triumph, and large spoked wheels top it off to give it that retro look. This bike comes in at $10,400, up $400 from last year. And new for 2024 is the Kawasaki Eliminator. Not sure what this is, if it's a sport cruiser or what. Two different Eliminator models are available. These look like direct competitors to the Honda Rebel 500, I think. They have a 451cc parallel twin 6-speed engine with 31.7 foot-pounds of torque, a 29-inch seat height, 3.4 gallon tank, weigh a measly 388 pounds, and have a high 5.9 inch ground clearance. Base models come in white or gray with ABS optional on both colors. Non-ABS is $66.50, ABS is $69.50. The Eliminator SE model comes standard with ABS, has an orange and black color, and includes a headlight cowl. Price is $72.50 for the SE. This brings us to the cruisers, the Vulcan series. We start with the Vulcan S, their sport cruiser. The Vulcan S has a 649cc parallel twin engine derived from the Ninja 650 engine. 6-speed, 46 foot-pounds of torque on this engine. I believe this bike is where the Kawasaki ErgoFit system first started, or at least it is where it is most publicized. This has a 3-way ErgoFit system allowing you to adjust the seat, handlebars, and foot pegs a little bit based on your height with 18 possible positions. Pretty cool feature. 3.7 gallon tank, 62-inch wheelbase, 27.8-inch seat height, and 5 inches of ground clearance. The base model has two colors. Black is non-ABS only for $73.50. The Pearl Sand Khaki, which is ABS only, for $7,900. The Cafe model comes in dark gray only, ABS is included, and costs $8,500. It includes a front cowl with a tinted wind deflector. I haven't had the opportunity to ride a Vulcan S yet. I'd really like to. Prices on the base model are the same as 2023, but the Cafe model has gone up $400. Moving on to the Vulcan 900. This has a 903cc V-twin with 58 foot-pounds of torque and a 5-speed transmission. I believe this is the first bike so far that is belt-driven. This has a 26.8-inch seat height and a 5.3-inch ground clearance, a 5.3 gallon tank, weighs 620 pounds, and has a 64.8-inch wheelbase. There are 3 different models. The 900 Classic has spoked white walled tires, and big fenders cost $9,400. It also has floorboards and a heel toe shifter. The 900 Custom is more of a sport version. It has drag bars, foot pegs instead of floorboards, slash cut exhaust pipes, and is blacked out. It costs $9,900. The Classic LT is the same as the Classic, except it includes a windshield, saddlebags, and a passenger backrest for longer rides. It also does not have the white walled tires, just regular black tires. Cost is $10,400 on the LT. No cruise control on any of these, even the LT. Prices are all up $400 for 2024. Not a bad looking cruiser, but honestly nothing too special in my opinion. In the competition, these fit somewhere between the Honda Shadow and the Indian Scout 60 bikes. The power to weight ratio is not great on these cruisers. Next up is the Vulcan Vaquero. A big jump up to the touring bike. This has a 1700cc V-twin sporting 108 foot-pounds of torque. Transmission is 6-speed with overdrive. Belt-driven, 28.7-inch seat height, 5.7-inch ground clearance, 65.6-inch wheelbase, a 5.3 gallon tank, and weighs 845 pounds. This has cruise control and ABS standard. Price is $19,100, up $500 from 2023. As a touring bike rider, I seriously considered taking a look at these when I was shopping for my bike. They are just slightly heavier than the Harley and Indian comparable bikes, with slightly less power, so not a great power to weight ratio again, and in my opinion, the front fairing on this is not very attractive. I don't really like that, whatever you call it, the sides, the way they bulb out. Not a big fan of the saddlebags either, because they open from the side instead of the top, which seems a little impractical, but for a touring bike it's priced very well. There are a ton of used Vaqueros out there for really good prices. Okay, moving on to the last of the Vulcan cruisers, the Voyager. The Voyager has the same specs as the Vaquero, except it has a slightly lower ground clearance and weighs 50 pounds more because of the tour pack on the back, as well as the crash guard lowers. Engine specs are the same. Cost is only $19,800, which is really good for a bike of this size. It also has a much taller windshield, and they replaced the vents on the sides of the front fairing with lights to give you 3 lights on the front, which is good. We're going to finish up the Kawasaki lineup with what is probably their most popular model line, the Ninja Sport Bikes. Big year with Kawasaki in 2024. The KX models, as I said, are celebrating 50 years. The Ninja bikes are celebrating 40 years. Starting on the regular sports lineup, we introduced the Ninja E1 electric sport bike. Priced at $7,600, it has very similar specs to the Z E1 standard bike. 2 modes, road and eco. Max speed in road mode is 55 miles an hour with boost up to 65, and eco mode has max speed of 40 up to 47 with boost. 30 foot-pounds of torque, 2 battery packs, and again 3.7 hours to charge each one. ABS is standard. Both of the electric bikes have a walking mode. Didn't mention that with the standard bike, but they have a walking mode that includes reverse. I'm not 100% sure why you need a reverse on bikes that are this light, but anyway. 41-mile range in road mode without boost, same as the ZE1. 31-inch seat height and 310 pounds. The Ninja 400 has not been updated, only 2023 models available at this time. 399cc, 6-speed parallel twin with a 31-inch seat height, 5.5-inch ground clearance, weighs 365 pounds, has a 3.7 gallon tank. 3 color options on the base model. Black is $5,300 for non-ABS and $5,700 for ABS. White and dark blue are $5,500 for non-ABS and $5,900 for ABS. The 2023 400 KRT version has the green graphics, also $5,500 for non-ABS and $5,900 for ABS, which is actually interesting because usually the KRTs are more expensive. Okay, we move on to the 2024 Ninja 650 with 2 models. 649cc, 6-speed parallel twin, 5 inches of ground clearance, 31-inch seat height, 425 pounds, 4-gallon tank, and 55.5-inch wheelbase. The base model has 3 colors. Graphene Steel Gray with Ebony is non-ABS only for $8,300. Another gray and black mix, and the green and black are $8,500 for non-ABS and $8,900 for ABS. Looks like these are up $300 from 23. The KRT version with the green graphics is ABS only, also for $8,900. The 24 1000 SX is next. 1043cc, 6-speed inline 4, 32.3-inch seat height, 5.3-inch ground clearance, 515 pounds, 5-gallon tank, 56.7-inch wheelbase for $13,700. ABS, cruise control, power modes, smartphone connectivity, all standard on the 1000 SX. We move to the Super Sport lineup. We start with the ZX4R, all models updated for 2024. This has 399cc as expected, but has an inline 4 on that instead of parallel twin. 31.5-inch seat height, 5.3-inch ground clearance, 415 pounds, 4-gallon tank. ABS is standard. Price is $9,400. The ZX4RR base model is the same as the 4R with some upgraded features like a quick shifter, upgraded rear shocks, front forks, stuff like that for $9,900. The ZX4RR KRT has the upgraded graphics for $10,100, and the 4RR 40th Anniversary Edition has the 40th Anniversary Edition's paint scheme for $10,300. Next is the ZX6R, also updated for 2024. 636cc inline 4, 32.7-inch seat height, 5 inches of ground clearance, 4.5 gallon tank, 55-inch wheelbase, 435 pounds of weight. The base 6R comes in black or white, non-ABS is 11.4 and ABS is 12.4 for both. The 6RK RT with the green graphics is also 11.4 for non-ABS and 12.4 with ABS. The 6R 40th anniversary includes ABS standard and goes for $12,650. The base model is up $700 from last year. The other models are up $400. The 24 ZX10R bikes have a 998cc inline 4 with all kinds of features: cornering management, launch control, quick shifter, etc. 33-inch seat height, 4.5 gallon tank, 57-inch wheelbase, 455 pounds. The base model comes in black with $17,800 for non-ABS, $18,800 for ABS. The KRT with the green graphics is the same price as the base, both the non-ABS and ABS. The 40th anniversary ABS is $19,150. Prices are up $400 from 2023. The ZX10RR has been significantly updated for 24. Kawasaki introduces the variable air intake system on this model and added a whole bunch of other features as well. This is a track-only bike, not street legal. This bike is up $800 from 2023 at $30,500 for the 10RR. Onto the ZX14R. This is a whopping 1441cc inline 4. It comes standard with ABS. 31.5-inch seat height, 595 pounds, 5.8 gallon tank, and a slightly lower 4.9-inch ground clearance. The base model has not been updated for 2024. Still the 2023 model at $16,600. They are offering the 2024 40th anniversary paint job for $17,250. And our last lineup of bikes for the Kawasaki is the Hypersports. The Ninja H2 SX SE has not been updated for 2024 yet, but in 2023 it was updated later on, so it might be updated later on in 24. This is a high-end sport touring bike with a balanced, supercharged 998cc inline 4, putting out 101 foot-pounds of torque, 33-inch seat height, 590 pounds, 5-gallon tank, 6.5-inch touchscreen, and just about every feature that Kawasaki offers is on this thing. Up $500 from 2022. This bike is priced at $28,000 for the 23 model still. The 2024 H2 comes in two models. It has a fully supercharged 998cc that gives 105 foot-pounds of torque at 11,000 RPM, a 32.5-inch seat height, 4.5 gallon tank, 525 pounds of weight. ABS is standard along with tons of other features. The base model will set you back $32,100 for this puppy. The carbon option goes for $35,600. These are up $600 from 2023. And the last on the Kawasaki lineup is the H2R, which is a racing, track-only bike with a bunch of major upgrades designed for racing. Will set you back $58,100, up $600 from 2023. It has a supercharged 998cc engine, as well as giving out 121 foot-pounds of torque that peaks at a crazy 12,500 RPM. 32.7-inch seat height, 475 pounds, 4.5 gallon tank, and a 57-inch wheelbase. So there you go, folks. That is a lot of bikes. That is what Kawasaki has for us so far for 24. Let me know in the comments what you think. Please subscribe. I'd appreciate it. It really helps me out. Take care, everyone. God bless.